12 years ago, Abraham Lincoln delivered the Gettysburg Address, an astonishing speech, just 10 sentences, spare, elegant, and haunting, that forever capture the meaning of the American Civil War. Now, contrary to popular legend, it wasn't more or less extemporaneous. He didn't scribble it on the back of an envelope. He didn't write it in a hurry on the train on the way to Gettysburg. He was quite sick when he gave it, but he put a lot of thought into it. And by this point, it was the thought of a true statesman. It still sends shivers down my spine just reading it, starting with 7 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. So he evokes the Declaration of Independence and then poses that great question, whether any nation so conceived and so dedicated can long endure. And then he deflects attention away from himself. I think it's part of the secret to Lincoln's prose and his thinking in the latter part of his life. He says the world will little no longer remember what we do here. And that was true of the guy who preceded him, Edward Everett, who gave a florid 2-hour oration that was apparently quite well received, but you have to Google it now to recall a single word of it. But Lincoln, accurately stating that it was the sacrifice of the men who died there that had hallowed that ground, and then to charge the living with fulfilling that work, to see to it that government of the people, by the people, and for the people shall not perish from the face of the earth, capturing the notion that a denial of rights to any is a denial of rights to all, and it makes a system of government unstable as well as unworthy. And Lincoln went on within a year and a half to deliver an astonishing second inaugural address as well, in which he talks again, and he starts out by saying that there's no need for him to go on at great length. We're in the middle of a war, we think we're winning it, we hope it's okay. But then he says, it's been a terrible experience, but we brought it on ourselves, and if the war continues until every drop of blood drawn by the lash from a slave is matched by a drop of blood drawn by a sword from a soldier, still God's judgment is just. And then he says, we must settle it with malice toward none and charity toward all. And if he'd lived, this political hack, who in my view was rather trapped into becoming great, but really did have greatness thrust upon him, might have secured a peace that did not embitter North against South and South against the freedman in ways that scarred the United States for another 150 years. In that sense, you read the Gettysburg Address as a haunting might have been. What if Lincoln had not been assassinated? Because in those words, there is transcendent greatness.